Tea Squad, it's Kirsty, and today we need to talk about Ariana Grande because there is a lot happening behind the scenes right now. And when I say a lot, I don't just mean another celebrity relationship story. We're talking about Ariana ending one relationship, reportedly finding comfort with an ex from 10 years ago, dealing with relentless public discussion about her appearance, dropping an album that directly confronts fame and scrutiny, pulling out of major projects, and now preparing to step away from public life altogether. So grab your drink, get comfortable, because we're going all the way back and putting this entire situation into context. And as always, some of what we're discussing comes directly from Ariana and her representatives, while other parts come from sources speaking to outlets, so we're going to make that distinction very clear. Let's get into it. Ariana Grande has been famous for a very long time. And while people tend to look at celebrities through the lens of albums, relationships, red carpets, and headlines, Ariana's career has also included some incredibly difficult experiences. One of the biggest, of course, was the Manchester Arena bombing in May of 2017. The attack happened after Ariana's concert in Manchester and killed 22 people. Ariana later returned to Manchester for the One Love Manchester benefit concert, but she has spoken openly over the years about the emotional impact that experience had on her. Then, in September of 2018, Ariana's former boyfriend Mac Miller died from an accidental overdose. At the time, Ariana was engaged to Pete Davidson. That relationship eventually ended too. So we're talking about someone who, before even reaching 30, had already experienced levels of fame, grief, trauma, and public scrutiny that most people will never have to deal with. Then came Dalton Gomez. Ariana and Dalton began dating around 2020 and eventually married in May of 2021. For a while, Ariana appeared to be entering a much quieter chapter of her life. But by 2023, that marriage was over. Their divorce was eventually finalized in March of 2024. And around the same period, Ariana became involved with her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater. And that relationship brought a whole different level of controversy. Ariana and Ethan met while working together on Wicked. When reports emerged that they were dating, the internet immediately exploded because both of their previous relationships had recently ended. Ariana was separating from Dalton, while Ethan had been married to Lily J, with whom he shares a child. That timing generated an enormous amount of speculation. There were accusations online. There were timelines being dissected. There were people deciding exactly what they believed had happened, despite not actually being inside either relationship. And Ariana's personal life became headline material all over again. She eventually pushed back against some of the public narrative surrounding her. But regardless of which version people believed, Ariana and Ethan stayed together for years. They attended events together. They supported each other's careers. And Ethan remained by Ariana's side through the massive Wicked promotional cycle. Then, in June of this year, the news dropped. Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater were over. According to reports at the time, the breakup was amicable, and they had actually been quietly separated for several months before the public found out. Sources said they had given the decision plenty of consideration, remained friends, and continued supporting each other. So, this wasn't being presented as some dramatic, screaming breakup. But it did close a chapter of Ariana's life that had dominated celebrity headlines for nearly 3 years. And then things got really interesting. Because another man suddenly appeared back in the picture. Ricky Alvarez. Now, if you've followed Ariana for years, that name is definitely familiar. Ricky was one of Ariana's backup dancers, and the two dated around 2015 and 2016. Yes. We are going back approximately 10 years. They eventually broke up, but unlike some celebrity exes who apparently need witness protection after dating each other, Ariana and Ricky remained friendly. And there had been signs throughout the years that there wasn't necessarily any serious bad blood between them. Fast forward to 2026. Ariana and Ricky started being seen together again. And in July, photographs emerged of the two walking together in Central Park. That naturally sent the internet into detective mode. Because remember, the Ethan breakup had only publicly been confirmed the month before. Reports eventually began saying Ariana and Ricky had rekindled their relationship. And according to sources speaking to TMZ, people close to Ariana apparently see Ricky as a positive influence in her life and someone who has been there for her during an incredibly intense period. Now, this is where I want to be careful. A lot of headlines are going to turn this into Ariana dumps Ethan and runs straight back to her ex. And technically, we don't know that. Because remember, reports about Ariana and Ethan's breakup said they had already been separated privately for several months before the public announcement. Celebrity timelines aren't always the timelines we see. Sometimes we find out about something months after it actually happened. But what does appear clear from the reporting is that Ricky has once again become an important person in Ariana's life. And Page 6 reported today that sources describe him as someone Ariana really trusts and someone providing comfort and stability while she's navigating everything currently happening around her. Which brings us to the much bigger story. Because Ariana isn't simply changing boyfriends. She's changing her entire relationship with fame. On July 31st, Ariana released her 8th studio album, Petal. And much of this new era has dealt with public expectations, celebrity culture, and what it's actually like having millions of strangers constantly discussing you. The Petal music video intensified that conversation. Once again, enormous amounts of online commentary centered around Ariana's appearance and body. And this is not the first time she's had to deal with this. Ariana has previously spoken publicly about people commenting on her body. Back in 2023, she reminded people that they don't actually know what another person is experiencing physically or privately simply by looking at them. She even explained that the version of her body people were comparing her current appearance to had actually been a period when she considered herself unhealthy. Yet years later, the conversation around her appearance hasn't disappeared. If anything, it's become louder, and shortly after the release of Petal, Ariana's representatives confirmed something major. After finishing the Eternal Sunshine Tour, Ariana Grande will be stepping back from visibility. Her representatives said Ariana wants to finish the tour on a high note and then take a deserved break from public-facing work and appearances. And they specifically referenced the endless public scrutiny she has experienced. Now, immediately, people started worrying. Is Ariana okay? Is something seriously wrong? Has something happened behind the scenes? Ariana then addressed fans herself during her Chicago show on August 3rd. And she made one thing very clear. This decision wasn't impulsive. It wasn't something she suddenly decided because of a bad week online. According to Ariana, it had already been planned. She described taking a break as something human beings sometimes need to do and spoke about the tour as an incredibly meaningful and healing experience. And I actually think that's an important distinction. Because there's a massive difference between saying, "I'm disappearing because I can't cope," and saying, "I have intentionally decided that after I complete this commitment, I'm reducing my visibility." Those are not the same thing. And Ariana appears determined to frame this as setting a boundary rather than collapsing under pressure. But the break is significant. Ariana has withdrawn from the planned West End revival of Sunday in the Park with George, where she had been expected to perform alongside Jonathan Bailey in London in 2027. The producers publicly supported her decision and said the production would continue with new casting. Ariana had also been attached to American Horror Story, although creator Ryan Murphy has since explained that her departure from that project was genuinely caused by scheduling conflicts after production moved into the same period as Ariana's tour. So we shouldn't lump every canceled Ariana project together and assume they're all because she's struggling. Some are connected to her decision to slow down. Some apparently aren't. And there's another important detail. Ariana isn't canceling the Eternal Sunshine Tour. She's finishing it. Her North American dates have now wrapped, and she is scheduled to begin a 10-show run at London's O2 Arena on August 15th. The final show is scheduled for September 1st, and Ariana's official tour page currently lists that September 1st London show as the final date, meaning we basically have a countdown. After September 1st, Ariana's public life is expected to become considerably quieter. But stepping back also doesn't necessarily mean Ariana Grande is retiring. That distinction matters. Her team has described this as a break from visibility and public-facing work. She also has a movie coming later this year, Father-in-Law, alongside Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro. So Ariana isn't saying, "I'm done with music forever." She isn't saying, "I'm retiring." She's saying she wants space. And frankly, when you look at the last decade of her career, the decision starts making more sense. Manchester, Mac Miller, Pete Davidson, her marriage, her divorce, the controversy around Ethan, 2 massive Wicked movies, awards season, albums, touring, constant commentary about her appearance, constant speculation about her relationships, and millions of people analyzing practically every photograph she appears in. At some point, even somebody who loves performing can decide they don't love being publicly consumed 24 hours a day. And this is where Ricky Alvarez becomes interesting again. Because while Ariana prepares to reduce her public life, reports suggest she's reconnecting with somebody who knew her before several of the biggest chapters of the last decade even happened. Ricky knew Ariana before Manchester, before Mac's death, before Pete, before Dalton, before Ethan, before Wicked. That's a completely different dynamic from meeting someone while you're already inside the Ariana Grande global machine. And obviously none of us know what their private relationship looks like. Maybe it's forever. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they're simply reconnecting and seeing where things go. But I can understand why fans find the full circle nature of it fascinating. Someone from Ariana's past has apparently resurfaced precisely as Ariana seems determined to simplify her future. And according to the latest reporting, her family is rallying around her as well. Her brother Frankie Grande spoke out today and publicly expressed his support for Ariana following her decision to step back. He praised her after the North American leg of the tour and made it clear that he's standing firmly behind his sister. So despite some dramatic headlines suggesting Ariana is somehow disappearing alone, that's not really the picture we're getting. The reporting actually suggests the opposite. She appears to have people around her encouraging her to slow down. Her family is supporting her. Ricky is reportedly providing stability. She's completing her tour rather than abandoning it. And Ariana herself says this was planned. Now, obviously, we don't know everything happening privately. And I don't think we should pretend we do. There has been intense discussion about Ariana's body and health, but somebody's physical appearance isn't a medical diagnosis. We can discuss what Ariana and her representatives have actually said without sitting here diagnosing a woman through photographs on the internet. Because, ironically, that kind of speculation appears to be part of the very scrutiny she's trying to get away from. What I find more interesting is what this says about celebrity culture. For years, fans have wanted Ariana. New Ariana music, Ariana interviews, Ariana on Wicked, Ariana on tour, Ariana relationships, Ariana pictures, Ariana updates. And eventually the person underneath all of that has the right to say, "Enough. I'm going home." Because celebrities don't owe the public permanent access to themselves just because their career depends partly on being visible. Ariana can love performing and hate being scrutinized. She can appreciate fans while needing distance from celebrity culture. Both things can be true at the same time. And personally, I think that is what makes this story much bigger than Ariana Grande got back with her ex. The Ricky situation is interesting. Absolutely. A 10-year full circle romance? Girl, you know we're talking about it. But the bigger story is Ariana apparently reconsidering how much of herself she wants the public to have access to. And Petal almost feels like the soundtrack to that decision. She's spent years having strangers tell her who she is, what her relationships mean, whether she's too thin, whether she's changed, whether she's happy, whether she's healthy, and what she should do next. Now, Ariana appears to be saying, actually, I'm deciding what happens next. So, T-Squad, I want to know what you think. Do you think Ariana stepping away from public life for a while is exactly what she needs? What do you make of Ricky Alvarez coming back into her life approximately 10 years after they originally dated? And do you think celebrities have reached a point where social media has made fame far more invasive than it used to be? Drop your thoughts below, because I already know you're going to have opinions on this one. And remember, Ariana has described this as a step back from visibility, not a retirement. So please don't let anybody run away with a headline saying Ariana Grande has officially quit music. As of right now, that's not what she has announced. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Dropping the Tea, and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next story. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can now become a member by clicking the join button, or you can send a super thanks directly underneath the video. Thank you so much for watching, T-Squad. Until next time, keep your cup ready, keep your facts straight, and keep sipping that tea.